Talking about tourism, on Sunday the 22nd of November, the inaugural Brisbane to Phuket flight arrived in Phuket with their VIP guests. They were welcomed by local authorities and businesses. We talked to Amanda Bolger, Public and Media Relations Manager of Virgin Blue Group, including the Australia airline. She first explains why they started flights now.
People wanting to travel between Brisbane in particular to Phuket.
Demand. I mean, this is your summer season basically, isn't it, in Australia? Most Australians usually come here in your June or the middle of the year.
Yeah, we like to do things a little bit differently, and we see it as a really good opportunity to stimulate travel at this time of year as well. I mean, Thailand, I think, is terrific all year round. So, we had a full load of people today, so if that's anything to go by, it's certainly going to be a winner. And we're pretty confident that it will be. I mean, how could you go wrong in this country?
Brought along a few celebrities with you as well.
We did bring along a few celebrities. We always like to do that on our launch flights. We've got the gorgeous Tania Zaetta, who is, I think, yes, indeed. She must be just about the biggest ambassador for Thailand, so she's been spruiking it all the way over. We've got Peter Morrissey, a famous Australian designer. We've got Kirk Pengilly, who is from the band In Excess, so a bit of a rock god in Australia. And, of course, Layne Beachley, who's a 7-time world champion Australian surfer. So, yes, a little bit of celebrity support is always good.
Are they going to be working here, or are they just coming here for a holiday?
Well, we've got an official cocktail function this evening that they'll be attending, and it wasn't hard to get them to come along when they knew they were coming here for a couple of days as well.
Tell us about the flight then. How long is the flight from Brisbane?
I think the flight is about 8 hours or so it's not too bad in terms of the timing, and it certainly goes very quickly. So today's flight in particular, we also did a bit of fundraising for 2 local charities here. So I raised almost $10,000 all up, which is fantastic. One is Yim for Kids, which is through the Accor group, and the other is the Sunshine Village through Indigo Pearls. So almost $10,000, which was great. People were very generous.
And how many people on the flight? Is it about 360, I think?
Yeah, it's almost 380. It was a full flight, so there was a few little kids on board as well, which is absolutely terrific. We really were quite inundated. The minute we went on sale, it was a hugely popular route, which certainly gave us confidence that it's going to be a success long term.
Once a week, or?
At the moment, the V Australia flight is only once a week. It'll be supported by the Pacific Blue flights, which are twice a week. So the Virgin Blue Group has 3 flights a week direct to Phuket, 1 from Perth, 2 from Perth, and 1 from Brisbane. So we'll see how demand goes, and if they, get lots of, so to speak, we're looking to put more on.
Yeah, you just started your Perth flight last week as well. That was full too.
Yeah, the Perth flight was full, so you can certainly see that the demand is there. It's a great destination, and we just think that we'd like to grow the pie instead of steal anyone else's share. So hopefully, so far so good, and we'll watch it very closely over coming months.
What about the demand the other way from, say, Thai travellers, particularly here in Phuket and the south? They book?
They can now. We've only just started going on sale here, so they can certainly book through local travel agents at the moment. So it's still very early days in terms of the other direction. We're hoping that will obviously build. Obviously, we'll be bringing in all the travellers, so they'll be going back out on us once we get an opportunity to build that up. And we'll certainly be looking to get the support of Thai locals and expats in particular as well.
Would you classify yourself as low cost? Long haul?
No, V Australia is a three-class, very, very premium airline. So it's got the business class, it's got premium economy and economy. So certainly the way to travel in style if you want to pop across to Australia in style. And Pacific Blue is the more affordable, lower cost. So yeah, it depends how you like to fly. They've all got great service, but V Australia is certainly a premium boutique product.
What about the...
Great news. That was Amanda Bolger, Public and Media Relations Manager of Virgin Blue Group. After a reception held in the evening on the same day at Novotel Phuket Resort in Patong, we also talked to Paul Stevens, Director of the Operations at Accor Hotels Thailand, about his major boost to local tourism and his group of hotels. Let's check out.
Well, I certainly think Phuket's heading in the right direction. If you look at around town, we've gone into the high season. Many of the hotels are holding their rates into the high season, and I think that's a really big positive. Virgin Australia, yeah, V Australia, I think that'll certainly help. I mean, it's a big plane. It's coming in here twice a week to start with. Then they're expanding to Melbourne after that. I think they're key markets into Phuket, and I see it being a really big benefit into the future.
Traditionally, the Australians don't come at this time. They come in the middle of the year. So is it a bonus?
I think it really is, and V Australia would have done their homework. Okay, they don't go places they don't think they can fill planes, and I think with the extra capacity, obviously a little bit more competition for some of the more traditional carriers coming in here, I think it's going to lift the entire traffic region. And I've seen that before with new airlines come in, they've got aggressive pricing. Instead of taking other market share, they actually just increase the entire market.
What about the bookings ahead then? Is it very short term, or are they booking well ahead?
Yes, it's one of those unfortunate byproducts of modern technology now. Certainly booking times are becoming shorter, and that's the reality of life. I think, we've just got to get used to working that way. It's not going to go back to the old days where we had 6 or 9 months lead time. Now it's here, it's right now, and that's the way people make decisions, and we have to work with it.
Obviously you're also providing them contract rates, not individual, like independent travellers. But what sort of rates? Are you adjusting them in any way?
Well, what we find quite often with the point-to-point carriers like Virgin, they do have their own wholesaling business, which is quite successful, but quite often point-to-point airlines will sell tickets by themselves. Then what you'll find is the FIT traveller will go onto the net, and they're pretty savvy nowadays. Most people travelling in that style go onto the net, they shop around, they look at social media, they look at where the locations are, and then they book by the net. So quite often they'll buy packages separately. They'll buy the airline, they'll buy the ground component separately, and I think point-to-point airlines really promote that activity.
But how are your rates in general? Have they gone up for this season, or are they stable?
No, they certainly have. As of November 1, we went into high rate season, and I'm very proud of my 6 GMs down here. They've all kept to that. And so far so good. The forward demand looks good. Their average rates have risen. Yes, it's a little bit at the cost of some occupancy. But if we're not going to expand into the high season this year, then we're in real trouble. So I'm quite proud of the activities they've done so far, and their business is still coming in quite strongly.
Can you reveal what the occupancy are then at the different hotels in general?
Oh, look, it varies so much. I can safely say Patong's certainly leading the charge again. All seasons down in Naihan, doing very well. In fact, through the whole low season, a lot of the package business from Europe in both Naihan and Panwa outdid last year, which was a fairly big surprise. But Phuket, Patong is still the number one occupancy. It's the number one demand driver for Phuket.